RV, let's bring in the 2024 AMA Monster Energy Supercross 250 West Coast champ, RJ Hampshire. Oh, finally. Special guest this week, 2024 Monster Energy AMA Supercross West Coast 250 champ, RJ Hampshire. RJ, first and foremost, congratulations. RV and I are stoked to have you on Title 24. I know you're a busy man, but glad to have you on, and congrats, dude.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. I mean, the title of the podcast almost fits too well with me coming on. So, no, it's cool. It's
Right.
two legends. Yeah, two legends. So, yeah, it's awesome to be on.
Yeah. That, dude, I tell you what, your journey's been fun. And I know I texted you this last week, but for me, I just wanted to share a story because I don't think a lot of people really know what you came from, how you got to where you are in your story. And I feel like, and this is about you, I feel like your story is incredible. And I feel like because of your journey and where you got to where you are today is because of how you grew up. And so a short version, just because I don't want to take up a lot of your time, is, I mean, obviously I know a lot of your family. We grew up at the same racetrack. We all raced the same first racetrack. We had our first races at the same racetrack, which is really cool. I grew up racing with a lot of RJ's family. And anyhow, I saw RJ at a very young age. His parents taking him to Dade City Raceway Thursday nights, Saturday nights, and just watching from afar. I was several years older than you were, RJ, but I was able to see, just like, you did a lot with a little. I mean, and you were always fast, and you always figured out a way. And I think about your journey. I mean, a lot of times compared to some kids that you were racing against, you probably have better examples than I do. But I just liked that you were kind of in the situation where you had to perform. I really feel like you did. There was no other choice, similar to you and I, and even RV. And just watching you, and I think back to the RCSX in 2013, when you were on the podium, I think you won 2 out of 3 classes that day. It was really, really special. And anyhow, just your progression. And I just wondered, like, do you think, looking back where you are now and you're a 250 West champ, do you feel like how you grew up with not having everything at your fingertips and just having to make it happen is why you are where you are today?
Yeah, I mean, I'd say 100%. I mean, just everything I've gone through since I've turned pro. Like, yeah, my childhood and everything. Like, yeah, people don't really understand, what I gone through, and you say a lot with a little, but like, man, I had nothing. Like my family, like we just that was everything, and we had just to go racing, and a lot of the times, like the races were on like borrowed bikes or something like that. Like, man, I just enjoyed racing at that time. Um, but honestly, I go back till I think I was pretty much 16 years old at this time. Summer of, I want to say maybe 11 or 2011 or something like that. Um, my dad's a roofer. He owns his own roofing company here in Florida, and I broke my collarbone or something, small, and he's like, well, it looks like you're gonna go, work with me for the summer. I spent 2 weeks on a roof working. Um, man, talk about gnarly and miserable. Florida summers are gnarly, and plus on top of a roof. And he's like, well, looks like you better start going faster. This is where you're gonna be. Um, and yeah, man, just ever since then, like, look, I don't have anything to fall back on. Like, this is all I have, and man, it's surreal to say, like, I'm a 250, West Supercross champion. I mean, yeah, it's still a title that's hard to, kind of come by.
Yeah, no, I agree, man. And I can say, like my fallback was I was going to go build houses with my dad, like, and nobody, like you'd go back and be a roofer with your dad. So very similar. Congratulations, RJ. It's been a long road, like I think you've been at this for what, almost 10 years now, trying to win. So to see like Ricky said, to see the road that it took you to get here, it's not easy for anybody. Some it's easier than others, but no matter what, it takes a lot of work, and it's even harder to do it the way you did it. I have a question. Like, obviously, I won very early on in my career. Lights championships or two-video championships. But I have to say, I have kids now. You have kids now. I would say that, and wanted to ask, is it sweeter now to be able to do it with having kids, or having a daughter now, and having them be able to see their dad up there and winning and bringing them on the podium, and sharing that experience with them.
Yeah, it's so awesome. Both of you guys, you've already pretty much won championships and almost retired by my age. I didn't win my first, pro event till 7 years in it, or 6 years or something like that. Like, my first Supercross win came only 3 years ago. So yeah, I've been in it a while, but also I've up my game, and I'm at a different level now than what I've been in my entire career. Uh, and my wife, like, we got married in 2018, so she's been there for the whole thing. And we weren't winning races, or really doing any, like, we didn't have much success right now. Like, we were just kind of getting by. And yeah, I had my daughter in 19, my first daughter in 2019. And man, honestly, like, my career has just been progressing and keeps progressing. We had our second daughter in 2022, so I'm dad of two at 28 years old. And honestly, it just helps you separate from racing. Like, you
Mm.
guys know how gnarly this program is, and um, what it takes to be there. So you got to have everybody on board, and be able to separate when you can. Um, and that's honestly, it's helped so much. Like, my wife brought so much kind of normality to my life. Um, and yeah, I mean, it's a whole group effort. And man, it's so cool to bring that championship in. And I'm sure you guys seen the photo. Like, my daughter's old enough. My oldest is old enough now to, like, realize what's going on.
Yeah.
So, like, every weekend was bringing home a trophy.
Yep.
And she got used to it. But for so long, I never really brought home anything. And then I think it was Denver. Like, I got a third. It's the first third I've gotten in a while. And like, it was a smaller trophy, and she was like stoked. She's like, yeah, finally, like, a trophy my size. I'm like, no, like, we want to get the big trophies. Uh, so then, yeah, after Salt Lake, she's like, Daddy, we have a big one now, because of course you
Yeah.
got the championship one. Man, yeah, it's just so cool to see.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do
I
you do they go to all of the races? I don't know if I see them at every one of them that you're at, or do they?
No, like, we try to take them to as many as we can. Like, for the West Coast, those first 4 rounds all being on California, so we spent
Mhm.
the whole month out there. They're at all of those. And then, yeah, I mean, it's tough, kind of going from Florida to those West Coast rounds. So kind of traded off. Like, we took one to Denver, and then we took, of course, everybody came to Salt Lake. But also, man, I was trying to Salt Lake. Like, I've never been in this situation, never been in that, title fight coming down to the last one, and I wanted to try to keep it as normal as possible.
Mhm.
So, like,
Yep.
even my family and stuff, like, other than my wife, my daughters, like, I'm like, I didn't even bring up going. Like, I don't care if you guys go. Like, I'm there to do a job. Um, and at one point, I don't think Alden was gonna go. Like, it was just like, hey, look,
Oh,
you're in the championship fight, but whatever. And I was okay with that. Like, look, I'm 100% okay. Like, I wanted to keep it. Uh, no more stress than I'm already have right now. Like, I'm there to race. So if you guys are there, sweet. If not, I don't care.
Well, I got to give it
wow.
up to you. I don't know if I could do what you do currently with kids. I don't know if I could do it, dude.
Well,
It's a lot.
no, I will say, like, our first daughter, Ivy, she's almost 5 now. The easiest baby possible. Like, we could fly across the country, no problems at all. Like, even to Paris, like, she was
Yeah.
perfect. Our second one, Navy, she's off her rocker. So if we had two, like, Navy, it would be a little bit difficult. But my wife does awesome with it. Like, she doesn't bring anything more to my table on race day. Like, even if they are there, she takes care of all of it. So yeah, it's
Yeah,
not more
you have to
stress.
have that. You have to have
Oh,
Dude.
big time.
Yeah.
Yeah, big time.
Dude, I'm so stoked for you. It's easy for me to sit here, RJ, and even for RV and us to see, like, your success. And forget how long it took you, dude. I don't care. I think this is what I wanted to. I was kind of telling RV too. Like, I wanted people to hear your story, dude. Everyone knows your accolades, how well you did. You've been on a lot of podcasts since your championship and throughout this year, explaining the journey and why, I did this at this race. But I just wanted people to understand, like what you talked about, dude, racing borrowed bikes and, like respectfully, I mean, dude, your stuff was beat up as an
Oh yeah.
amateur. So it's so cool. Like for me, outside of my TV stuff, when I have to bring up the obvious stuff that's never fun to do, but dude, it's so cool to see that. And I wanted you to be able to just give everyone a little bit of taste of, how the hell you got to where you are because of who you are. So that's
Yeah.
awesome. Was there
But
ever, so this year, and then just a couple questions before RV gets going, like, I can't remember what broadcast it was. It was early on, but I just noticed something, and I know you got your health and stuff sorted out. But was there something different with the bike or that you did in the off season? Because you just looked like you had a little bit of reserve. Like, I mean, you and I and all three of us on here, we ride the edge. We're not scared if the bike steps out or what have you. But it seemed like you had some in reserve this year. Is that true? Was it not true? If so, what did you change? Like, is there anything that you want to say? Because it looked like you had some insurance there this year.
yeah, I go back to one race that I didn't, and I got my ass kicked at that, and it
Mhm.
was Seattle. Like, man, that
Mm.
was the only race where
Yeah.
I felt like I could not match or go faster than the guy that was leading. Like Levi rode so well there,
Mhm.
um, and that was kind of a test to where I'm at mentally, because I had to regroup and kind of pull myself back. Like, okay, look, those first 4 rounds, well, the two mutters, San Fran and San Diego, like those did not help me out at all. Like I
Yeah.
got cleaned out in one, got ninth,
Mhm.
and then of course San Diego.
Yeah.
But A1, I dominated. I felt like I could go as fast as I needed to go.
Yep.
And it's the first time I've ever been able to manage a race, like check the
Yeah.
time, know where I'm at on laps, go faster if I needed to, and just keep the gap the same.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And maybe in times past, like years past, I would always be like, look, got to go faster. Always got to go faster. Go faster. Go
Right.
faster. So,
Right.
um, yeah, and I've said it before. It was like, look, I've had the speed to win maybe for a while now, but
Yep.
it takes learning how to win, and I never knew how, or like I was never that guy that was dominated anything.
Mhm.
So yeah, it's just like another side to it. Yeah, okay, now I got the equipment, I got the speed, the
Mhm.
fitness, everything, but
The
you still
knowledge.
have to
Yep.
you still have to know how to win, and
Mhm.
you can't teach that until you're up there and you do it constant and you kind of get used to it.
Yeah.
So yeah, like that's how it started at Anaheim one, and yeah, I wish. I mean, the fans probably don't wish, but I wish San Fran and San Diego was a little bit better weather, because
Mhm.
I felt like I could have had a little bit more of a cushion,
Yeah.
coming from that.
Totally. Totally.
Yeah,
Yep.
so and I look back and it's like, man, if I were to win a championship, this would be the perfect RJ championship. Like so many highs, so many lows, complete mutters,
Yeah.
you name it, and then being tied coming down to the final round. Like, yeah, man, just looking back on it all, it's so crazy to see, and yeah, definitely. Like I feel like my riding's at the best it's ever been, and um, just like yeah, the whole summary. Like to answer your question, I feel like I've just been able to manage races, and I have the speed to do that right now.
Yeah, I noticed watching race day live. Obviously Levi being up from where I'm from. Not that I'm biased to him, but I turned race day live on and I'm like, oh, this is going to be a tough one for Levi. I noticed it right away. You showed up and did exactly what your plan was, and you stuck to your plan. Now you have a little more, maybe a couple seasons more or a lot, under your belt, and that shows the maturity that where you rose to. But like, I'll say it now, Levi just looked like a little bit of fish out of water. Your Seattle was Levi's last round. Like he didn't show up,
Yeah.
and that shows the testament to where you came, where you grew. You're learning how to win and be in that position of managing your own race. and being with tied points. Like that's probably one of the hardest scenarios to do, is coming in. It's a winners take all scenario, and you have to beat your competitor, number one, and then you have to manage that race. And that's, you showed up, and I saw it race day live. I saw it there first take right there. I was like, okay, this is going to be tough for him, tough
Yeah.
for Levi.
Yeah, and that's kind of how that's exactly my plan. Look, from press day, I felt awesome on my bike. I'm gonna be the guy. I'm gonna be the fastest guy from the first time I hit the track, and um, everybody I think seen it. But
Oh
Levi
yeah.
had that scary point though at press day whenever he almost endoed,
Yeah.
and you could see his kind of technique and his way he was riding change just from that moment. Like that scared him a lot. Um, which of course we're tied, so I feel like I kind of gained a little bit from that. Then it was like, okay, race day. I had one goal. I didn't care necessarily how my heat race went. Match him. I felt like I could have gone faster if I needed to. But it was all in that start come main event
Mhm.
time, and um, I yeah, of course you always want to win, but for that heat race, I was okay with getting second based off
Yep.
of where he's gonna pick a gate now for that main event,
There we go,
and that
RC.
Yeah.
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 So like going through my head and stuff, like we had a couple different scenarios on where I would go. Of course you want to be on the inside of them, but man, how those gates were all in front of the gate, like it was not pretty. So he picked gate 3 all the way inside, and there was a kind of escape route away from that hole in front of the gate. So he was leaning right and missing the gate. That's how he hole shot at the heat race. So I kind of knew, I was like, okay, look, I'm not going to be able to go inside of him and hope to get it. If he gets that, around that bump, good. I'm screwed down there.
Yeah.
So Hayden went just to the left of him. He was on the inside. So it's like, okay, Hayden's a good starter. He's in a must-win situation right now.
Yep.
So he like, I don't want to be part of that. So I had my gate. It was gate 5. I was there all day, and exactly one goal: get out of that start and go left. So if you look at the replays or anything
There
like
you
that,
go. Right
I
there.
got that jump. Yeah. So I got that jump and I went left, and yep. So right there, that
Yep.
right there won me that championship.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, dude, you go back to, you say that, but like I went down, I try to get down on the floor and watch you guys like in at least one of your practice sessions, because I'm a visual guy. Like when I'm like up close and I'm watching you guys through like corners and stuff like that, I can see if the bike's working good and whatever. And like, dude, you were just laying the lap times down.
Yeah,
Absolutely
and
laying it
and
down.
I
It was,
yeah, so that's what you're saying. Like I could go as fast as I needed to go, but Levi's
yeah.
proved in all year, like if he gets that start, he's solid. Like he
Mhm.
is a tough guy to pass. And I'm not saying I couldn't have gotten it done, but it would have been a lot harder than getting that start on him. Like I did not
Yeah.
care if yeah, I didn't care if I was 15th off the gate as long as he was behind me.
I mean,
So
I will agree. I will agree with you, but I think if the tables would have been turned, and you, because Levi essentially was fairly close to you around the
yeah,
first turn, he lost a couple positions down the straight, but with your speed, I think you could have gone through those riders and passed him. You just
Yeah.
were that more comfortable. You were that much more comfortable. You knew your plan. You knew what you how to execute it. And I think that's where he went a little wrong with that. You knew exactly what you were going to do. You had extra in the tank also. So I think you would have been able to come up through and potentially pass, or do make the pass on him if he would have been in front of you.
yeah. I mean, I'm not saying I couldn't have, but I'm just saying like that was made my whole race much easier. And it took me a couple laps to find Levi. Like on the
Yeah.
track, I could not find him there the first couple laps. And like that's where I'm like, okay, I gotta kind of check my insides, make sure he's not gonna run it in on me.
Yeah.
But then I remember exactly where it was. It was about 7 minutes, 50 seconds left in that main event. I took a peek up, seen the time, and I seen him like literally 2 seconds after that. It was the mechanics area, how you come through, switch
Yep.
back, right
Yep.
back. So once I spotted him, I was like, okay, it's over. Like
Yeah.
I'm solid here. I know where I can go. I had one mistake, and it was tripling on to that tabletop in
Yep.
that long rhythm. So I
Yep.
came up short one lap. That was the last time I jumped it. I was not taking any more risks than what I had to. I was
Yep.
jumping the whoops really fast, knew
Mhm.
what I had to do, and that was kind of what it was. And then it came down to, those last couple laps where I ended up catching Deegs. Like I caught him, and I was like, oh man, like don't slow up, too much, because I do not want these guys to, kind of catch up to me. Um, but yeah, man, just so much emotion here, and it didn't really hit me till we get to this left-hander right here. You see me look up, and oh, okay, this is white flag lap. So yeah, I'm all over him here, and he actually clipped a tough block
Yes,
after.
I remember that.
Yes, he clipped the tough block, and man, it fell right in front of me. If
Oh,
I was like
dude.
a half a second further up, so that's why I'm running it close here. But I'm like, man, I have way too much to lose here. Like, I do not want to win this. You can take this win. It is it. But yeah, right there, man. Right as soon as I got through that finish, or the whoops, and took that left, like it finally hit. Like, man, you've done it. You've made it to the
Yeah,
top of what you tried
dude.
so hard for.
It's so cool to see, and I gotta tell you this much, like, I don't know that anyone could ever explain to the people that are listening to this podcast and listening to you and in the sport and in life in general, what it's like being in a situation where you have to beat that person to win the championship, right? I've only experienced that once, and it was one too many times, dude. And how
Yeah,
you were able to do it was absolutely incredible. Just
see it.
walking us through there, dude. It's just like,
Yeah, like
holy
you can have so much confidence, but until it actually happens, you don't know how
right.
your mind and everything's going to react. And I was in the same boat, man. Like, I was so confident showing up, but you still have that thought, like, can you actually do this? Like, can you
Yeah,
pull it off? I just kind of go back to, and I think of Nashville. Like, I showed up at
yep,
Nashville. I had to win Nashville. I don't care what else happened.
yeah.
I had to win Nashville to have a chance at this, and I dominated the entire day.
Was
So
that hey, was that one like I was wondering, was there ever a point because going into Nashville, I can't remember the race before, and you were at the press event and you were pretty bummed out. Like, was there ever a point in the season where you're like, crap, dude, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to pull it?
Well, it goes back to Seattle. Like, dude, I got smoked in Seattle, and I just didn't have the
Yeah,
speed. That was the
right,
time where it deflated. Like, I was so deflated.
right.
St. Louis, I was really fast. I felt like I could have won that. I
Yep,
just didn't get good starts.
yep.
So then those 2 weekends right there, like, it took a lot to bounce back from.
Mhm. That's
So
right. That's
yeah,
right.
so I showed up to Nashville. Like, look, dude, this is your last opportunity. Like, if you want this championship, you need to win here.
Stay in it.
So yeah, that's where it was like, okay, you pulled it together there and one of the biggest spots. You can do it
Yep.
again, this weekend. Yeah, it's
Mhm.
worth a lot more, winning this one, but also it's like, okay, we can do this.
Yeah. I mean, you just had everything buttoned up, like, this year. It's you it my
Well,
opinion,
it's
it's the best that you've ever been. It's cool to see, and, and what you said, we answered a lot of questions today on our pod instead of doing so much of a review because we had you on. And, you brought up something that was somebody asked. It's like, what's it like going from the 250 to the 450? And can you tell something in riders that when you watch them on the 250, you think they're going to be a 450, a good 450 guy? And I don't necessarily think it's about how they ride the 250. I think it's about how they just race in general. If they're a good racer and they know how to get it to the finish line, like you said, the biggest difference was you know how to win now. You
Yeah,
know where you need to be at what stage in the race. You know where you need to start. You know how to win multiple times. And I feel like that when I'm watching a 250 guy, it's not how fast they are or how they ride. I just watch their racecraft and their race IQ and the decisions that they make rather than their style. Does that make sense? And you kind of said it, like, you know how to win.
yeah, and honestly, it could be that it took me so long because I didn't have that experience as a
Uh-huh.
child, or my
Yep.
amateur career. Like, dude, I didn't win anything till my final year as an amateur. Like,
Mhm.
I didn't know how to win. Like, yeah, you can count Dade City Saturday night as winning, like a point series or points race or something like that. But I never even went like
Right.
further than Texas to race an amateur event. Like, that's just how my life was. Like I went to normal public school and played baseball and lived a normal kid life. And then I have AC and, all these other guys that like AC's full time at the Lapotos at that time and just dominating everything. Yeah, I couldn't win. Like it didn't matter
Right.
I could do. Like there was no way I was gonna pretty much win
Mhm.
anything. And yeah, but like you said, like I wouldn't change anything from my past or what will happen. Like man, it's so much character, and you
Oh,
could see
dude.
how much like it meant to so many people in the industry, and also like my team, like they see kind of my progress and where I'm at. Like man, I treat everybody the way I want to be treated, of course, but also
Yep.
like I know how these guys, how much work they put in, and how much time they spend away from their families and stuff just for us to go racing.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, it's all respect. Like man, they have so much respect for me, and
Mhm.
same for them.
Hmm.
Yeah. You like MX or SX better? What do you prefer?
Uh de-
We had this
Depends. I mean,
debate. We had this
yeah,
debate before
no, I
we
mean,
got on.
I was full motocross my whole career. Like I cannot wait to go outdoors. Um, but man, it also just depends on what kind of bike you're dealing with and where you're at in that situation. Like we've had new bikes. Like I got caught with two different teams that got brand new bikes at the same while I was under those contracts. And man, there's some growing years. And again, you talk about character and building. Like man, it takes a lot to go out there and grind on the weekends and not have the results or the bike to do it. So that was draining. But man, I love that suffer. Like you send me out there in the heat and 30 plus two. Like man, I live for that stuff. So
Dude, I
yeah, man,
love
I
it.
I cannot wait. And then another thing, like this is a kid that's never been to California until I had to go race a pro event. And some of my best races have been on hard packed tracks. Like Paula, I've won a moto there and would never have thought in that. And then you have the sand in Southwick. And yeah, man, just I'm excited. Like I think my bike's in a really good spot this year. You could tell Supercross, like man, we got an awesome machine, and
Yeah.
it's gonna be same thing. Coming into this outdoor season, we made another huge jump. Last year, I felt like I had the speed to win at a lot of these,
Yep.
and couldn't pull it off. But then we kind of go back to learning how to win, and I feel like I've taken a big step in that this year. So
Yeah.
uh, yeah, I mean, I've thrown away a couple of those wins that I should have had, and I feel like this year, my mentality and being able to manage these races, like we're in a much better spot.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, I can't wait. Like these last couple weeks though, before leading into Supercross, I'm not gonna lie, I did not ride a single day of outdoors. Like I stuck
Right.
to Supercross. Like, look, I'm focused on one thing right now, and that's gonna be outdoor or this championship.
Yep.
It was after St. Louis though. I'm like, okay, like I need to get on some outdoors. Like let's ride some outdoors. Let's
Yep.
train some outdoors. Spend some time on the 450, and felt awesome right away. I got a really good setting, and then I think I rode 2 weeks after that, and then
Mhm.
I didn't ride outdoors again until after Salt Lake.
Right.
And right away, like straight, I went from Salt Lake straight to California. Tested Monday, Tuesday at Paula just to get that feeling back, and man, right back into it. So I'm super excited. Like I can't wait to get this thing going. If like I said, I feel like we're in an awesome spot.
That was
Awesome.
kind of my next question was like, how do you think winning this championship is going to benefit or help you? And you kind of just answered that was, learning how to win and in a good position with the team and bike and all of that. I think outdoors is going to be very fun and interesting to watch you specifically now winning this Supercross West Coast Championship, and then you won races last year, but you couldn't put it all together. Now, what does RJ have in store for these guys outdoors? Because now it's like I feel like you have the whole package.
Yeah, man. I'm just thinking back on last year, and dude, like I don't think anyone realizes how sick I actually was, like going racing. Like, and I think that kind of played a lot into where I was on the weekends. Like, man, I had nothing left by the end of those days. Like I was sick. I had like stomach problems and bacterial infections and everything going on. But I was still showing up on the races thinking, hey, look, I can give it everything I have, and
Mhm.
my body just couldn't take it. Um, and I feel like we got that handled fast. Like even for nations, like I was still trying to work through everything. Like it wasn't pretty. So then yeah, just to have a good off season to kind of get that stuff all figured out and the best version of myself. Yeah, like outdoors, we just did a 30+2 today, and man, I feel strong, feel good. Don't have any of those issues that I was dealing with. Yeah, so Paula, well, we're about 3 or 4 days away now, and yeah, excited to go racing.
Boys better be ready to do battle, RV. The
I know.
RJ's like he's a dog days summer guy. I love it,
Well,
man.
Yeah,
The
and
hotter
I
the better.
Yeah, 100, and being that, a little bit older, more mature, you've been down this road for many years now, and now you put the puzzle together, this Supercross season. So what I see in the future for outdoors, is going to be some really, really great things. I think these guys are going to have a tough time. And as you know, consistency is key, and you're great at salvaging, those bad races, and that's what, to win a championship, you gotta, as you know, your off days is or your bad days is when you win. It's
Yep.
yeah,
easy. You win the
yeah,
nights you win, right?
yeah, yeah. See, and it used to be like these first 3 rounds out in the West Coast. Like, look, dude, we're stoked with the top 5 leaving here. Like, if I can get a top 5, I'm pumped. Just because I've never really rode well out here.
Mhm.
But I mean, yeah, I'd still be happy with top 5s. But now it's like, hey, look, you can go out here and win these from the back. Like,
Yeah.
you're really good at Paula. Sacramento, Hangtown, you've had good races there. So yeah, like man, I want to get this points lead or at least be very close to it. Starting from the bat and of course, once we head east, like man, we get to High Point. High Point, I love High Point. My wins have came at Red Bud and Bud's Creek. So later in the series, like it gets better for me, results wise at least. I mean, I feel like I ride these first couple of tracks really well. So yeah, I mean, we can put a whole season together, but I need to start it strong also. Like get it going from the beginning, and I do think like we'll learn our bike more and more as the season goes on. Just because, like I said, I haven't really tested much outdoors. But I feel like I'm in a great spot just to get going here. And once we head east, of course, you're gonna have to change a little bit here and there. But I'm confident right off the bat.
Yeah, and and like you've said, like, dude, you got gastro stuff is for the most part figured out. You're feeling healthy. You got a championship under your belt. Like, there's just you think about how well you did last year at some of the outdoors, and then how well you did winning the championship and Supercross this year. I mean, it's looking good. So
Yeah,
that's awesome, dude.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
awesome. It's incredible. Dude, are you good, RV?
Yeah, I'm good, buddy. I think so.
Dude, that was incredible. I'm proud of you, dude. I've been able to witness your growth and how you got to where you are from not all up in the trenches, but a better view than most that know who you really are, and it's cool to see that, dude, and proud of you, dude. It's
Mm.
awesome.
Awesome.
It's
Thank you,
awesome,
guys.
man.
I
Pumped for you.
appreciate that.
Yeah, congrats. Thanks for coming on today. I know you're a busy guy, and good luck, dude. Good luck
Thank
at
you.
Pala, and we'll be tuned in.
That's right.
Appreciate it. Thank you guys for having me on. Also.
Congrats, buddy.
Hi, folks. Lee Diffie from NBC Sports here. If you truly enjoyed what you just watched, you can get more news, interviews, and highlights by subscribing to the Motorsports on NBC YouTube page. You can get it all, so go for it.